I saw Scott on the computer, and I thought that he would give an excellent demonstration. So I've asked him here tonight to start us off, because I think it would be special.
Thanks, Ian. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Scott Naismith. I'm a landscape painter. Okay, today I'm going to be working on something that I was working on yesterday. I like to prepare the surface because in a 2-hour session I'm not going to be able to work with straight from a bare canvas. I do sometimes, and I don't do this all the time, but with this particular painting I wanted the initial surface fairly dry. It's not bone dry, but it will be manipulatable, and I'll be able to lift from that surface with a rag, but I'm working on top with a wet medium. I prepared this yesterday, and you'll be thinking it must be really wet, but it's actually just mostly turpentine at the moment. I'll be using some mediums today, which I've pre-mixed here. Incidentally, I've got some YouTube videos that talk about the way I work with mediums. They talk about how to stretch a canvas. They talk about various things, my philosophies with paint, and you can have a look inside my studio and all sorts of things. It's YouTube/Scott Naismith. You can get a link from a website, and that's scottnaismith.co.uk. So the mediums that I'm using are, one's a lean mix and one's a fat mix. How many people actually work with the oils here? It's possibly 50-50. I'll be referring to certain things that I will apply to anything. And I get an awful lot of questions. Can I do this kind of thing with acrylic paint? And I said, yes, of course you can. I like the reasons that I work with oil paint are the manipulation possibilities before it dries. It's the depth of colour that glazing can achieve, and it's also the sticky viscosity that you get with oil paints. I just more and more becoming involved with the paint itself and what it can do and how it behaves. So a lot of the time, even though I've planned this, I've actually planned this on an iPad sketch. My iPad's gone. But I planned a sketch in an iPad, which I've been recently painting on an iPad to get an initial sketch. The initial sketch was a square proportion, and I was coming into problems with the layout. Oh, here's a wee picture of the iPad sketch down there. And it was playing on the contrast between green and purple's green and purple mix. If anyone saw the sky tonight before they came down, I don't know if it was the same as it was in Glasgow, but there was a very orange, very purple kind of effect going on there. I'm going to use that as a bit of inspiration as well. This is a place called Gesto Farm. Gesto Farm, I got the name of the farm because somebody on the internet told me it. I put up my iPad sketch on my Facebook page, and someone said, Gesto Farm, nice one. So that gave me the name. Didn't have to do any research for that. Just as a matter of interest for the progression of how a painting might happen, this is actually a commission that was painted of Straven, and this is looking south from Straven. And initially I went to the place and stitched a few photos together. That was the first port call. On the particular day that I went, it wasn't ideal conditions that I would have liked, so I began to imagine how the warm light will affect the shadows. But this is kind of getting on 6 o'clock, past 6. So I take it from there and I take it in a Photoshop, do something with that. And this one here is an iPad sketch with fingers. So it's just fingers on the screen on the iPad. From there, the painting's produced, and this will be several layers of paint. Sorry. So the entire process is based on layering the paint. And what I say to a lot of people that maybe don't think about oil painting as layering the paint. A lot of people look at an oil painting and see a bit of blue over here somewhere and think that that was the first colour that was put on that canvas. There's just the gesso white in the background and then blue on top. But the process of layering is like an evolution of a painting. And a lot of what I'll do just now, it won't look like that by the end of the painting because there'll be another stage past that. And the reason why I've got this painting here is because this is at a later stage, and fingers crossed I'm going to finish doing this one, well not finish it to its conclusion, but finish the stage of that one, and I'm going to try and put the next level onto this. So this is really just a underpainting. Okay. Right, let's get started. Speaking and painting at the same time are difficult for me. I'm not a multitasker, but I'll do my best. What I'm doing at the moment, I'm just going to coat the canvas in this medium, and I've become quite fond of the fan brush. The story about the fan brush a bit. I do a lot of YouTube videos, and one of the other artists out there that's painted a lot on camera is a guy called Bob Ross. If you've ever seen Bob Ross on the telly, it's a great show for people that don't really know what they're doing. But believe it or not, the fan brush isn't just for painting for trees. And generally, when you're learning how to paint, you know, I think the old Bob Ross thing is a kind of shortcut. Everything's a wee shortcut. You know, people ask me, how do you paint clouds? I say the same paint. It's the exact same way as you paint a pair of shoes. There's no difference. You just look at the shapes and you jot them down. I've got a video online called, it's an oil painting tutorial called Painting with Freedom. And it's become quite a popular video online. I think it's had like 10,000 views or something like that. And it goes into it's well worth a look if you find it difficult progressing to painting from drawing. And it's all about the concept of the fact that drawing's all about line. And when you draw something, or what a line is just where one object finishes and another one starts. And you look at that point of contact and you draw that line. So if I'm looking at the edge of that canvas, all it is one shape stopping and one shape starting. Negative space and positive space. Drawing is all about identifying where that line is. Painting's all about there's a shape there and a shape there, and the line happens. So it's about perception of space, and it's about looking at shapes rather than lines. Everything's made up of four things. You've got texture, colour, line, and shape. Four things. And if you can look at a painting and keep those things very separate and think about them very separate, texture, shape, line, and make sure all these elements are working well, you'll be going a long way to improving your painting.